I'm Mr. Hopewell. I'm one of the teachers for Precision Machining Technology here at BCTC. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do in this program. So what is machining? Most people are familiar with 3D printer. That's called additive manufacturing, where material is built up layer upon layer to produce the component. What we do is exactly the opposite. You could call it subtractive manufacturing. What we do is we look at an engineering drawing, also called a blueprint or a print, and we start with a piece of raw material and subtract material by cutting it down to produce finished product. Here are some examples of that raw material to finished product. And here, and some of the types of products that we have produced in this program. One machine tool that we use, the simplest one, is called a drill press. And basically here we use a rotating cutting tool to produce holes in a workpiece. Again, we have an engineering drawing here that shows the product we're trying to produce and some of the cutting tools that we use in that machine to produce that finished product. Another machine tool that we use is called a lathe. What this does is produce largely cylindrical workpieces. So the part is held here and rotates, and we pass the cutting tool along it to shave it down and change the diameters. So here's a product that's in process. The student is on the last stage producing an external thread. And at this end of the machine, we have an assortment of some more products that have been produced on this type of machine. So here we have a vertical milling machine, and that uses a rotating cutting tool, and it largely produces flat parts. Here's an assortment of parts that can be produced on the milling machine. Holes as on the drill press, but the location is much more accurate here. We can also produce flat surfaces, sometimes curved surfaces. And here are some of the other cutting tools that we use in this piece of equipment. So as we produce all those parts on all those machine tools, we have to measure them to make sure they meet all the print specifications. So here we're showing a lot of the measuring tools that we use in this program. And we routinely measure down to 0.001 inches, which is 1/1000 of an inch. To put that in perspective, that is about 1/3 the thickness of a human hair or 1/3 the thickness of a piece of paper. So we read those engineering drawings, we use the machine tools to go from raw material to finished part, and we measure extremely precisely to make sure those parts meet the specifications on the print. So where would you use these skills in the real world? Our students graduate from here and they have gotten jobs in automotive, aerospace, and medical device. So if you think of someone that you know that ever had a broken hip or a broken arm, traumatic injury, had an artificial hip replaced, we have students that work in companies that produce those artificial hips. So you can work in an industry that works precisely, you can make an excellent living, and you can help people have better lives. So you would spend 1.5 years in this room where we've just toured, where most of the machines are manual or conventional, and then after here, you would go spend 1.5 years with Mr. Hoffman in the CNC lab.
Hi, my name is Peter Hoffman. I'm the instructor of Computerized Machining Technology. This is the extension of Precision Machining Technology. And in our lab, we have precision machining equipment, but it's all computer controlled. So these are some examples of the types of things you can make when you have a computer doing the machining control for you. We have parts that were cut out of a solid bar of material, but that carefully guided computer controlled tool can make some really fancy parts. It can move the tool in a lot of motions that you could not do manually. We also are able to produce a lot of production with these machines. The tool moves so fast and efficiently that it exceeds the capability of any human being. So what we do in this lab is we learn how to program the machines, we learn how to set them up, and then finally we learn how to operate them to make good parts. And I'm going to show you some of the different equipment that we have here. So the first machine I'm going to show you is called a Cnc Lathe, and this is the control panel. The part will be mounted into this spindle right here. And if it was a raw piece of material, it would be in here and it would rotate. We would control all of these different cutting tools to come in and remove material off the part to make the finished object. Here are a few examples. We can cut threads on a part, we can do grooving, we can turn precision diameters, we can cut bores, internal threads, and all sorts of other features that would be really difficult to do efficiently on a manual piece of equipment. Another type of equipment that we have here is called a CNC Milling Machine. And we have 4 in the lab. This is one of them. This is a 5-axis Hawes machine. This machine is only 3 years old. And on a mill, we can make all sorts of objects that are not circular, not cylindrical. We would make the cylindrical parts on the lathe, and we would make everything else on the mill. And these are examples of pieces that were machined out of solid bar stock. So you can see there's a lot of material that gets removed, and these carefully guided tools in these machines can produce these effortlessly. This is an example of one of the machines. The type of work that we do in this program is coding, but it's a specific machine language just for this type of industry. So a lot of our work will be to understand the codes, write programs from scratch, and then once the program is written, we set the machine up, locating the workpiece in the machine properly, and then safely operating the machine for the first time to make sure that we have no errors or crashes or cause damage to the machine. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. So the machine will change tools as needed according to the program. And then completely automated, it will run exactly what we coded the machine to do. So the next machine I'm going to show you is the most high-tech one that we have. This is called a wire Edm machine. And on this machine, this is the actual cutting tool. That is a piece of brass wire. It's on this spool, and it's only 10,000ths of an inch in diameter, which is roughly 3 times the thickness of one of your hairs. Let me open the door to this machine and I'll explain how it works. That wire comes off of the spool, it comes down through this tube, and then it's guided between 2 guides, one at the top of the part and one at the bottom of the part. And it's energized with a high frequency electrical current, and when that wire gets close to the material, little electrical sparks jump off of it and land onto the workpiece. Every place that one of those sparks lands, it erodes away a little bit of the material. Now that doesn't sound like a very aggressive process, but when you imagine 250,000 sparks discharging off of that wire per second, it results in quite a bit of material removal. Because the wire is so small and so fine, we can move it through very intricate and difficult to machine features on the part. And this is an example of a brass piece that we cut internal splines in. We can cut sharp inside corners. The workpiece can be hard, which would make it difficult to machine with the other processes, and it is extremely precise. So those are a few of the examples of the machines that we have here. We have a very well-equipped shop. Our goal at BCTC is to train you to be employable in the industry. We don't have toys. These are all industrial strength machines. And our students get placed right in industry, or they go to post-secondary school and they further their education. We have a lot of employers that are looking to hire our students. Every year, all of our students get hired and have more job offers than they can go out into the industry and fulfill. So if you're interested in learning more about this, you can go to our website. You can learn about the program. You can learn about the different certifications that we offer, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
For more information about this program, please visit the program page at www.brookscareer.com.